I've had visions of paradise here on Earth in meditation and through the application of shamanism. And Earth can be something completely different than what it currently is. And what I mean by that is Earth was designed to be a pristine biosphere of growth and enlightenment. And Earth was designed to be, the air was designed to be so clean in the natural environment that isn't polluted. The air is so filled with nutritive elements that it essentially can be a food source, as crazy as that may sound. And the yogis of antiquity knew this, and they referred to the pristine air as prana. The air was designed to be filled with life force, but in today's matrix, it's filled with break dust, different geoengineering, chemtrail, aerosol residues, nanotechnology. There's all sorts of different pollution in the air from the airplanes and the cars, the factories, etc. So I've had visions of what Earth can look like. I've seen what Eden can look like. I've seen what planet Earth can look like with the application of holistic sciences applied to the natural world. And what I mean by that is I've had visions of entire cities where the infrastructure of the city was, how can I say this? The infrastructure of the city had been designed to harbor nature. What I mean by that is there were greenhouses in the skyscrapers. The cities had these massive air cleaning devices that were attached to the buildings so that when air passed through these devices, it would filter the air in the atmosphere. I've also had visions of vehicles that were designed so that as they drove through, like on the streets, etc., these cars would act as filtration devices. And what I mean by that is the cars would have these ducts, like a turbine with an air filter in it. And as the cars would drive through the towns and on the freeway, etc., all the air and all the exhaust would go through these turbines, and all the residues would get stuck in the turbines and clean the air. So in perfected Earth, things are supposed to be pristine. We're supposed to have pristine air, food, and water. Those are three things that we're lacking here in the Matrix right now. And those are three things that are required for any civilization to flourish. You have to have clean water. You have to have foods that are mineral dense and grown in good soils, not depleted soils like the soils here in the Matrix. Man, clean air, clean water, and clean food. Three prerequisites for any civilization to flourish. If you take these three things away, society goes down. Society the spiritual integrity and the health of a civilization begins to crumble once you take those three prerequisites away. So in many meditations, I've seen many versions of Earth. I've seen what this Earth can turn into if we take our power back and we start caring for the planet collectively all over the planet. So I've had these neat visions of these entire cities that were converted into these green epicenters where the buildings, plants were growing on top of the buildings, trees were being populated everywhere in the cities. Green technologies were applied to the vehicles and the airplanes so that the airplanes and the vehicles would clean the atmosphere. I've had visions of cities that ran off Tesla power, and just because things aren't looking too good here on planet Earth right now doesn't mean that we can't turn things around. We really need to learn how to merge the shamanic realm with the science realm and utilize the best of both worlds, because within science there are some very good things. Not all science is corrupted. And if we can merge the scientific realm with the shamanic realm and the needs of the earth, we can begin using science and technology and architecture to actually clean the planet. And it's just amazing what we could do in 100 years to this planet if we started doing things properly. We could turn this planet into a pristine environment, which could house many more people that currently live on the earth, as crazy as that may sound. It's amazing what we can do in 1 year or 100 years. So look at what we've already done to this planet in 100 years, destructively. Now, let's start working on fixing it. It took 100 years to get this far with the destruction of the planet, the forests, the oceans are polluted, etc. What could we do in 100 years to fix it? And, that's a big part of this channel, is to inspire people. Start tapping into, getting healthier so that they can gain more access to their creative minds. Because when you're healthier, your creativity is more abundant. And, there's many people out here that are very intelligent that could be inventing some very, very valuable things to help and clean the environment and clean the atmosphere, etc. So that's another reason why I try to inspire people to get healthy, is so that by getting healthy, you can regain your creativity, your inventive mind, your spiritual entrepreneurial faculties. Because once you do regain your creativity and your clarity of thought, all sorts of neat ideas begin moving through you that the earth is attempting to send to you. The ancestors are attempting to communicate with you, the spirits, and teach you things and put ideas into your head and things of that nature, so that you can ponder them and possibly, make a fucking green invention that could fix the atmosphere or help clean the oceans, etc. And that's why I have a big problem with school, the public school system, because right now the public school system is conditioning people and turning people into workers for the system. The school teaches you how to have a 9-to-5 job and to make money so that you can have a house, etc. How about the schools, we design them as creative epicenters for the youth to use their creativity to come up with ideas to fix the fucking planet? What's the point of chasing all this money and all this other mundane shit? I gotta become a doctor so I can make $100,000 a year, bro. What good is that if there's no planet to even make the money on? And that's where we're going if we don't fix things. Total destruction. So, intense world what we live in. And, pollution's bad and everything, and what's happened to the planet is horrible, but the planet's been through far worse than what it's currently going through. Far worse. And it's made it this far, so. The planet's been through all sorts of disastrous fucking different meteors and shit hitting it, and fucking tectonic plates moving, and all sorts of crazy shit, destructive shit going on in nature. Nature can be a very destructive force, and right now humans, essentially, we're just a surface nuisance. We've polluted the surface of the earth and the atmosphere and the soil, etc. But, inner earth is teeming with life. When you look at the whole scale of the pollution of earth, we've really fucked up the surface for the most part. We've fucked up the atmosphere, the oceans. We need to fix those things, and we can fix those things. We need to enter into our inventive minds. We need to start designing vehicles that actually filter the air that these vehicles drive through. Same with the cars, etc. We need to be designing boats that filter or somehow, help the water get clean in all these lakes, rivers, and the ocean, etc. We need to have buildings that just grow food for everyone. We need to grow more trees. There's all sorts of different things that we need to start doing as a planet or as a collective whole to fix the planet. And essentially, what's really interesting about healing the atmosphere, the air quality, etc., is that if you do get in your Merkaba is so advanced. Your Merkaba is so in tune with Earth's energy, the Kundalini energy, that you can actually stand outside in your Merkaba, and with your Merkaba, you can actually clean the pollution out of the air. And that may sound crazy, but that's the truth. The human organism is so advanced. Come on. The human organism is so fucking advanced once it reaches an enlightened state of consciousness through Kundalini activation, etc., that you can actually just willfully wish the pollution away. And that's probably going to sound absolutely nuts to the average person. I don't care. Pretty much anything is possible within your Merkaba if it's actually activated to the point where you can actually see it around you. So, you know, the human organism is actually designed to be able to cleanse the external world. The shamans of the jungle know this. And the shamans of the jungle have been using their Merkabas to shapeshift for very, very long periods of time. Shamans have known this knowledge and have used their Merkabas to travel to different dimensions, communicate with higher beings, shapeshift things on the earth, shapeshift their own physical being, all sorts of neat things. And the Merkaba is activated through the arousal and the stimulation of the Kundalini Uraeus, which is lying sleeping in the dormant regions of your spinal system. So, you know, you can consider Kundalini Kundalini has fallen asleep at the base of our spines. It's in a state of slumber. And that's the real fall from grace that humans have undertaken. Because the Kundalini in the enlightened human lives and remains activated in the pineal gland, as well as the sacred space of the heart. And that energy has fallen from the pineal gland and descended down to the base of the spine where it's fallen asleep. So most of us are experiencing consciousness with a sleeping serpent, the sleeping Kundalini Uraeus. The spine has no activation at all. So that's why Kundalini, once the energy ascends past the heart and gets into the pineal gland, you experience heaven consciousness, because you're now what you were meant to be. That energy, the evolutionary energy of the serpentine Uraeus, the caduceus, is supposed to be housed in the upper portions of the brain. It's supposed to activate your nimbus, your aura. And when we become deactivated, the Kundalini descends and it begins to fall. And as it falls down into the lower portions of the human physiology, the spinal system, we lose all of the power of the chakras. Because if the chakras are only activated, if the Kundalini has activated them and reached the upper portions of the temple of God, the head within the brain, the chakras only truly work and are only truly activated when the energy opens up the energetic pathways of the chakras, and the energy nourishes the chakra and actually feeds the chakras a much needed dose of food, of chi. And when the Kundalini energy stimulates those chakras and nourishes them, the lotuses, the petals on the chakras begin to open, and it's like an atrophied flower going from being near dead to blooming and opening. And when each of the chakras bloom and open, you receive massive amounts of divine wisdom from the various planetary spheres, from the various angels which govern each of the chakras, from the ancestral realm, etc. So real chakra activation is much different than New Age chakra activation, where people generally just kind of envision their chakras being activated and kind of use visualization to kind of pretend like their chakras are activated. Real chakra activation is unmistakable. It literally feels like miniature tornadoes moving in different directions up your spinal system. You can feel it. And you can feel, you know, the Kundalini, the caduceus, is an accurate representation of health. Because if you look at the caduceus, there's two serpents that are spiraling around each other. And what that represents is the energetic pathways of the Kundalini counter-rotating through the spinal system and activating all of the different energetic pathways and opening the chakras. So the caduceus and the serpent, the twin serpents, is a very accurate representation of real radiant health because it depicts the energy of Kundalini opening the chakra system and activating the spinal fluids and the different bone, the spinal system. So many people, oh dude, what the fuck? Why is the caduceus a representation of health, dude? Isn't the serpent like Lucifer, bro? Isn't serpent the devil? The Bible said the serpent's the devil. Oh, I'm not trying to be a dick here, man, but it's just amazing the amount of fear regarding serpents because of a book. No, the serpents don't represent the devil. The serpents on the caduceus represent the chi, the pathway of the chi moving up your spine and fixing the chakras until it reaches a state in the top of the caduceus where the pineal gland becomes activated, the stargate gland, and through the activation of that, the serpents on the caduceus become feathered. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, the feathers are a metaphor for the Christ consciousness that is experienced when you activate Kundalini, because the feathers are a representation of flight above the terrestrial sphere, above Earth, excuse me. So, you know, you experience the consciousness of the various aethers, the various angels, when you reach that feathered state, because the feathers represent being in a completely different dimension and existing within that higher dimension while still connected to your physical body. It's advanced shit. Kundalini is very advanced. Kundalini is going to have a lot to do with the planet healing itself, if we can get to that point. We're going to get to that point if the people collectively begin caring about their planet and about their health. So, the serpent is considered pretty much the highest form of wisdom on the planet. The serpent knows all. The serpent is directly connected with the Earth's Kundalini. Man, and you know, no wonder serpents are such the symbol of health. I mean, it's the perfect symbol of health. Not only does the serpent represent physical health, it also represents mental health on a large extent due to the fact that it forces you to break free from your religious conditioning, depending on how conditioned you are. Because many people still think that serpents are the devil. So in order for you to even embrace Kundalini, you are forced to put your religious programming aside so that you can learn new things. So the same church that tries to tell you that serpents are evil are the same churches that, you know, in the past, you know, put molten lead in babies' mouths, tarred and feathered people, murdered people, raped people, beheaded people. So you have these organizations who are fucking cold-blooded murderers across the scale trying to tell you that a serpent's evil. And you know why they're trying to tell you a serpent's evil? Because the serpent is the grand illuminator. The serpent is the grand initiator into the upper dimensions in the higher faculties of the human mind in the Kundalini Uraeus. So the church, in my opinion, the Draconians, they're afraid of the serpent. And they don't want people to learn from the serpent. Therefore, they call the serpent the devil, and they program people with serpent fear through religious ideologies in various different religious hogwash, propaganda, etc. So, you see many religious depictions of angels poking their spears into serpents, and it's just, they use these archetypes to program people. They've programmed people to think that the serpent is the most evil thing on the planet. So I do hear from the occasional person saying that, oh, bro, dude, what the fuck, you exalt the serpent, bro, it's evil, bro, what the fuck? How is a fucking snake evil? It's a part of nature. It's a part of the fucking grand totality of everything. And it just so happens to be practically the wisest creature on the planet. The snake. The fuck you talking about, bro? Snakes have little heads. They don't got big brains like us humans, bro. We got big brains, bro. We could drive vehicles. We could fucking, drive boats and go to school, bro. We're the most advanced. Hate to tell you, but you're not. Regardless of how big mankind's brain, how big the human brain is, we only use 1% of it. In a species who only uses 1% of their brain capacity is not an advanced human. No. Nature, you don't have to have a big brain to be incredibly wise. No. Proof of that, it's just insane. People actually think that the size of your physiology dictates how intelligent you are. Squirrels are small, bro, they're hella dumb. Dogs, they're dumb. If you had any clue how wise animals are, you would not be opening your mouth and saying silly things like that. But most of us don't know how advanced nature is because we don't experience the shamanic realms. We don't. In fact, we kind of, in a sense, we live disassociated from the animal kingdom because we're always indoors. We always got something to do. We got to drive somewhere. There's always an appointment. There's a meeting. We can never just sit and live in nature. We don't even sleep on the ground anymore. We don't even sleep grounded to the earth. We were supposed to sleep on the earth, and by sleeping on the earth, our chakras would, as we slept, how much? Do you have any clue how much more healing takes place during sleep if you sleep in a tent on the ground? That's why you feel so good when you go camping. Your body is close to the dirt, and the chi from the earth goes in and it spirals around all your cells, and it helps everything get fixed. And the earth pulls junk out of the electric channels of the body. It pulls negative toxicity out of the body. It pulls EMF out. Sleeping on the ground, walking barefoot on the earth, touching trees, swimming in natural bodies of water, it uplifts your spirit because it gives you a download of direct current energy, natural energy. And that's what the body fucking thrives off of. It's what the aura runs off of. Direct current. So, just a brief video. I'm trying to keep these videos short. I'm going to cut this one off. On behalf of the Sacred Starseed Serpent YouTube channel, thank you for watching this video, and I hope that this video can inspire you to be stimulated by Kundalini, the idea of planetary enlightenment, fixing the planet, becoming healthy, and developing a deeper connection with nature. Peace be with you.